This is big breaking news. U.S. officials have just issued a level 3 travel alert warning that conditions are not safe to travel and you should be very cautious and careful. So let's get into all the details here. You can see here it says Mexico must heed U.S. travel warnings, public safety official says. It says here the State Department's travel advisory website currently has a level 3 alert for the entire state of Baja California, and the head of the Citizens Public Safety Council says the Mexican government needs to take the warnings seriously. Baja California is right on the border of the U.S. and Mexico, and it's right south of California. It says here, quote, Mexican authorities seem to ignore these warnings. These should not be considered an exaggeration, said Roberto Quindano Sosa, president of the council in Baja. Quote, even though they deny it, the Baja California region, Tijuana in particular, remains with an incredibly high level of violence, okay? Another travel advisory has just been issued as well, too, for Venezuela. You can see here it says U.S. renews, quote, do not travel alert over terror and kidnapping amid Trump narco terror fight. Americans should, quote, depart immediately from Venezuela, the State Department says. All right, so they are warning people to get out of there because there could be some type of military action there in the very near future. Trump's warning that even land strikes could potentially happen as well too, and they are warning, this is level 4, just do not travel at all. All right, it says, quote, all U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents in Venezuela are strongly advised to depart immediately. So that's big too. They're warning this because it could mean strikes are coming very soon. All right. We will get into more details of that. You can also see here U.S. Southern Command just announced, it says here, on December 4th, at the direction of the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel in international waters operated by a designated terrorist organization. Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was carrying illicit narcotics and transiting along a known narco trafficking route in the Eastern Pacific. 4 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel were killed. All right, you can see they posted this video just today, and they're saying it happened today too, Thursday, December 4th. All right, so these strikes are continuing, and I think they're going to ramp up and maybe even have land strikes, and maybe they've even done some land strikes already, but we just haven't seen them, or they haven't posted any of them or anything like that. All right, so that is big too, because Trump was also warning Mexico that there could be strikes on Mexico even potentially. He was warning them that they are kind of in a similar position as Venezuela, not as extreme, but he is warning them and putting pressure on them that he wants to stop the flow of these narcotics into the United States through the southern border. It says here the U.S. State Department is asking Americans to reconsider travel into Baja due to several factors. This is right south of California. This is right on the border. So this stuff that's happening right south of the border is flowing over as well too, all right? It doesn't just stay right there. These groups and organizations have embedded themselves inside the United States as well. It says here the United States is asking Americans to reconsider travel into the Baja region due to several factors listed. Quote, there is a risk of violence in the state from terror groups, cartels, gangs, and criminal organizations. This is Tijuana, Mexico. This should be like a vacation paradise hotspot, and they've really allowed it to slip and under the control and into the control of these groups. Criminal groups fight for control in border areas. They want to set up routes for narco trafficking and human smuggling. Travelers should remain on highways and avoid remote locations. There are high homicide numbers in the non-tourist areas of Tijuana. Most homicides appear to be targeted. However, assassinations and territorial disputes between criminal organizations can injure or kill bystanders. U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents have been victims of kidnappings. The only travel restrictions in Baja State are in Mexicali Valley. There are no additional travel restrictions for U.S. government employees in Baja California State, including Tijuana, Ensenada, and Rosarito. It says here, Sosa told reporters earlier this week that the U.S. government issues these warnings and alerts with good and responsible intentions, suggesting visitors remain in tourist areas and not to venture into sparse or remote locations. Quote, without a doubt, the U.S. government has specific information and good reason to ask for its citizens to take precaution, he said. Quote, ideally, there be no alerts, but there's no reason for Mexican public safety authorities not to take these warnings seriously. The travel alert issued by the State Department carries other warnings for Americans who are planning on visiting Baja California or other parts of Mexico. It says here, drug possession, importing of drugs, including medical marijuana, is illegal. Do not bring e-cigarettes, vaping devices, or illegal drugs into the country. Bringing weapons into Mexico without permits is considered a serious crime. When approaching any checkpoint, cooperate. Avoid any behavior that appears aggressive. Fleeing can raise suspicion and lead to violence. Costs for medical care in Mexico may be higher than expected. Most hospitals will not release patients until their bill is paid in full. That's a big one that I've actually seen multiple stories on. Just recently, how this one guy, he went on a cruise. He got sick on the cruise and needed a bunch of medical care. And then they went back to Mexico. He needed to go to the hospital. And they are not giving him back any of his stuff. His passport, his phone, all his stuff has just been seized until he can pay the medical bill, all right? Pay the hospital bill. Absolutely insane. It's kind of extortion levels what's going on. And there's a lot of corruption in Mexico, okay? A lot of the police are corrupt. A lot of the military is corrupt. National Guard, government, politicians, mayors, presidents are corrupt there. And this is part of it, okay? Where they extort you. You get hit by one of these gangs, you get in the middle of this, and then you're extorted for money at the hospital as well too. It's crazy. And this is right south of our border, and this is significant because it's right there. It's literally touching our border, and they don't respect our borders, these groups, and they move people and these substances across the border all day long. Still, the border's been shut down, the border's on lockdown, but there's still people slipping through the cracks. There's still stuff coming in, all right? You can see it says here that the U.S. is also warning citizens in Venezuela to get out of there, all right? So we've seen this big buildup. A lot of resources being put into the Caribbean and around Venezuela. And I think Trump was operating a maximum pressure campaign for Maduro. And I think he has given him a window to kind of cooperate. But I think that window is closing rapidly. And I think Trump's going to get to a point where there's not going to be any more negotiations or cooperations, and he's going to put on even more pressure and potentially start ordering strikes inside of Venezuela. All right, so let me know what you guys think down below. You can see here it says travelers face an increased risk if using unregulated taxis from the international airport, using ATMs in the area. All right, it says violent crimes such as homicide, armed robbery, kidnappings, and carjackings are common in Venezuela. If a tourist are detained, the U.S. is generally not informed about the detainee. Okay, so diplomatic relations have deteriorated between the U.S. and Venezuela as well too. So you're not going to have the embassy advocating for you and trying to get you back home to the United States. All that stuff shut down right now. All that stuff suspended, and all of those personnel have been evacuated. So if you are there, you're kind of on your own, okay, until something big happens, until the war happens, until there's strikes, until Maduro's removed. If you're there, something happens, you're on your own. Even if you book flights at the international airport, or if you use your debit card, things like this could flag and trigger that you're an American, and you could potentially be targeted and captured. Okay, this is already kind of a war that's happening behind the scenes. It hasn't gone full on kinetic yet, but I mean, we saw this post, they're already hitting these boats, all right, and next step is for land targets. And during a war, we cannot expect this country to treat our citizens fairly, or to cooperate with the United States to even get them back. Okay, so if you're in Venezuela, you are operating at your own risk at that point, and they're not going to save you. All right, maybe once they've done a complete regime change, they will come save you if you're still alive, but they're not going to come save you. Okay, and there were even reports that Venezuela potentially even captured CIA operatives. This happened maybe a month ago. There was reports of this inside of Venezuela, unconfirmed reports, and they never provided any proof or evidence of that. But at the same time, they would do that. All right, they would capture soldiers, citizens, anyone that's there. So get out of there if you can. If you have family there, try to get them out of there if you can. And even Mexico, all right? Be careful. If you live along the southern border, just be very careful, all right? These groups are everywhere, especially in the Southwest, California, Arizona, New Mexico. That's their territory, all right? Their stomping ground. So let me know what you guys think down below. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared, staying stocked up. I hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.